Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. My name is Cami, and today we're going to do the first design tutorial on the channel, and it's actually kind of something special to me because it was a tumbler for my son's birthday. He just turned 25, I'm so old. Anyway, one of his favorite movies is Young Guns, and so we are very much kind of a cowboy western redneck family, and so I figured it would be super fun to do a tutorial on something that I've seen things kind of similar, but nothing quite like this. So I'm super excited to share it with you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. It really does help the channel. You can also find me on TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, you name it, all the social media platforms. So if you're interested, let's get started. After sanding and washing the cup with soap and water, I'm going to spray paint it khaki from the Rust-Oleum line and let it completely dry. We're going to use butterscotch, caramel, ginger, and latte alcohol inks from the Tim Holtz line. You're going to want to have a glove to kind of keep your hand from getting alcohol ink all over it, and then some balled up saran wrap. So we're just going to start with dotting on a couple of dots here and there and just patting that saran wrap down onto it until you feel almost a little stick from the saran wrap to the cup, and you know it's kind of drying out, and then you move on to some next dots. And I just keep continuing to do this, layering up. I'm trying to figure out what colors are working best here. I ultimately wind up going with latte all over the cup and then come back in with ginger all over the cup. The other two just didn't give me quite the look I was looking for. And then later in the cup, I'm going to go in with teak wood to give it just a little bit more depth and variance. For what I'm trying to create here is kind of a faux leather look for the base of this cup. And it takes a while, but just keep going until you get a nice even coverage, and then you want to make sure that you get your bottom as well. And then I just keep on going. You're going to want to switch out. If your saran wrap gets too like flat or balled up, you're going to want to switch out your saran wrap because you want that different crinkle texture from the saran wrap onto your tumbler. So here I'm just kind of looking over, and this is kind of where I decide that I think I want to add a little bit of dark areas to it. So then I go in with teak wood, and it gives me just that little bit more rustic browns of like your distressed leather, like a distressed leather couch kind of. Anyway, so I just keep going around, same as I've been doing with the other ones, and I don't want this to be as heavy coverage as the other two. This is just kind of a variance to the cup that we've already got. So we're just creating some darker spots on the cup. So you're going to seal that twice with a 2X Rust-Oleum clear matte spray. You're going to want to let that dry completely. And when you spray those coats, you want them to be super light coats. Super, super light. Because if you spray too close or too much, you're going to cause your alcohol inks to run. So after that's dry, I put on 2 coats of epoxy. And I'll put a video up here to show you how I do my epoxy method. And then here I'm just putting on an image that I kind of doctored up and printed in Silhouette Studio onto printable vinyl. I dropped that cup down to where it was straight up and down so I could make sure that image was completely level and even on that cup. And I had just taken a little bit of the top tab of the backing off and secured it to the cup. And I was going to start off with kind of the hinge method here, and then I decided that I would just go ahead and take the whole back off and just gradually lay it down. You're going to want to make sure that you have a good hold on the upper side of that, so that as you're brushing down this printable vinyl, it's not going to slip out of your fingers and just lay where it wants to lay. So I just kind of barely guide it from center to outside here, and you're going to go down quite a ways before you're going to want to smooth out those top left and right sections of this image. Otherwise, there's no give to this image, so you're going to have some buckling or bubbling or whatever. So just take your time here and gradually work it out from the center on each side. And then once you get towards this bottom, you get it down as far as you can, and then I just kind of let my left side kind of lay on the pool noodle. I kind of got the right side a little bit stuck before I was ready. It's a little tricky, but then I just kind of gradually laid that down and then went over and laid that left side down. You just want to take your time, and you're smoothing out as you go along to make sure you don't get any bubbles or ripples or anything like that. And don't tug at the image, just let it lay as it will as you're gradually guiding it down, so you're not stretching that image at all. And then I put both sides of the image, one in each hand, to be able to know exactly where center of that image is as I lay it back down on this cup holder. That way I can center this back part on the cup. These are the words, it's a quote from the movie. Exactly center from the front image. I don't know, it just kind of helps me. And same as in the front, you take and you just smooth it from center to the outside, making sure you don't get any bubbles. This is an offset of the words from, it's a quote from the movie, and I can do a different tutorial in showing you guys how I do my offsets, but you just get it on there and really press well, and then pull the backing straight back off on itself to minimize any vinyl coming up or bubbles or anything like that. And then I went ahead and put the pictures on the top and the bottom of the words, just like I did that bigger front image. Just kind of lined them up with the words and centered them. And then I sealed all the vinyl and the pictures with polyacrylic. So then I forgot to hit record when I was taping this off, but I just used this bigger roll of painter's tape and sectioned off over the words. I didn't want to spray paint the words, so I just masked off that part, about that section of the cup, and then I took little spots of tape and put over each of the pictures, the little pictures up front and the bigger image, and then I spray painted the whole thing this satin espresso, and then went over that after it was dry with this metallic copper, and then let that completely dry, and then went in with a coat of this metallic aluminum over the top of that and let that completely dry. I'm letting it dry in between for about an hour each, and then a couple of hours after that third coat. And then we're gonna need some 91% alcohol and acetone, paper towels, all that good stuff. And then you just take your tape off where you've masked it. Like I said, it was just over the words and those upper and lower pictures over the words. And then I take this is a Cricut weeding tool. I don't use my pin pen for peekaboos and taking tape off and stuff like that, because it winds up bending the tips of my pin pen. So I like this Cricut tool. It's a little more stout. And I just carefully go over each picture and pick out all of these little tape areas, kind of like a peekaboo, until I've got all of them off and revealed those pictures. And then I start with the acetone on a paper towel, and I'm gonna go around the edges and just kind of muddle up the edges. We're trying to make it not perfect. We're trying to make it to where it's just very uneven and, you know, kind of smudged looking almost at this point. And you're gonna wanna be really careful. If I had it to do again, I would have given myself a little more room around the outsides of these images, but whatever. I just took my time and went around it and just kept working it. And so acetone takes it off really, really fast. So you're gonna wanna be very careful and take your time here. You're only wanting to gradually take a little bit off. And then I take my 91% alcohol and kind of rub over that seam, and then you're gonna push in towards the center on this outside. And what that's doing is alcohol removes paint slower than acetone. So it's just taking off like layer by layer, revealing a little bit of the copper and a little bit of that espresso on the bottom. That's how you get that almost burnt edge. And this video is super short in comparison, but you guys, this took quite a long time. So be patient with yourself and just keep working at it until you get a look that you're happy with. For me, it took a little while to get kind of what was in my mind's eye out of this cup. So I just kept going around the edges, and I'll let this go for just a second until we're at the picture here. So when I do the insides of the picture, I am like super careful. I don't want to rub too far over into that outside because I do still want to frame on these pictures. So I am not using acetone here. I'm just using that alcohol to just barely press and move the edge of that paint. Like I said, you just want to be careful. So ever so lightly. And what we're doing here is kind of giving it a rustic or distressed look, kind of a burnished metal, if you will. I love how this gives all the different colors. You know, you've got that kind of metallic-iness from that aluminum spray paint right on top, but then some of that copper barely shows through. And then that dark edge of the outside, to me, kind of looks like a burnt edge, kind of. So it makes it kind of old and rugged. So like I said, I just kept going around and around and around, and it took a long time, you guys. So mark off some time. And then I didn't want any parts to be like completely perfect, so I just went through with the alcohol and barely rubbed just a little bit off. I wanted some of that copper to show through, and then down into the espresso color, and then in some spots I even wanted to go down all the way to that faux leather look, just to kind of give the illusion that there was holes in it and stuff like that. So I just keep working it and going over different spots until I am completely happy with it. And I wanted to point out that at some point I did move to just an old kitchen towel instead of using the paper towels. I found that it allowed it to rub a little bit better off the edges and stuff to reveal more of that espresso brown underneath. So after this, I just let it dry for about 2 hours, making sure everything was completely set. And I went in with, this only took 1 coat of epoxy over the top, and then it was done. And I'm so excited with the way this came out. My son absolutely loved it. So that's it, you guys. If you have any questions or comments or need any further explanation on anything, please don't hesitate to leave comments in the comment section. And then if you guys aren't subscribed already, please do so and let me know what you want to see on the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.